Okay, we're gonna do a Scottish tune. It's spelled S-I-N-E, sign B-H-A-N. We just worked it up today, and I looked up the lyrics. It's something about girls and flowers, so we put a flower background, and we're gonna do it in. It's a major key. It's Scottish, and we're gonna do it one time in one key, and then we'll switch over to another key. Hold it. Wait, you're not in there.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
That was very nice, very nice.
Thank you, thank you.
I get a throat lozenge for the guitar player though, so no, that was a beautiful tune, beautiful tune. All right, Jeffrey, you're up next. So I'm gonna mute everybody. Here we go.
Um, I really don't know what to bring here. I just like to listen. This is one of the rare Sundays when I don't have a workshop, and so I'll just listen. Thank you. Good to see you, Stuart. Great to see you.
Yeah, listening's all part of the experience. Absolutely. We have Alicia. Alicia's from Canada. She's also planning just to listen, unless she tells me otherwise. So we'll move on to Mary Jane, and I will mute everybody. Here we go. Okay, all yours, Mary Jane.
Okay, I'm gonna do the Sally Gardens words by W.B. Yeats, and I think it's based on a traditional Irish tune. So before I get too far, I better put this thing on. All right. Down by the Sally Gardens, my love and I did meet. She passed the Sally Gardens with little snow white feet. She bid me to take her easy as the leaves grow on the tree. But I, being young and foolish, with her did not agree. In a field down by the river, my love and I did stand, and on my leaning shoulder she laid her snow white hand. She bid me to take life easy as the grass grows on the hills. But I was young and foolish, and now I am full of tears. Down by the Sally Gardens, my love and I did meet. She passed the Sally Gardens with little snow white feet. She bid me to take her easy as the leaves grow on the tree. But I, being young and foolish, with her did not agree.
Good one, good one.
Thank you.
Very nice. All right, it is my turn, so I'm gonna mute everybody. All right, this one is I've done one up before. Ewan McCall did this song called "The Shoals of Herring," and a lot of people thought it was written in the 18th or 19th century, and he wrote it in 1963. Here's another one that sounds like it was written in the 1880s. It was actually written in 1980 in Canada by an Irish Canadian called Don Reed, who's with a a band called Brannigan's Boys in Toronto. And they were short of a song to finish their album. So I said, you've got like an hour to come up with a song on immigration and the potato famine and stuff like that. So he came up with this one called Farewell, My Green Valleys. All right. The seagulls are calling, the wind is in the sails, and she's fast moving out of the sea on a ship bound for St. John's, 3,000 miles away. A human cargo, my comrades and me. Farewell, my green valleys, God keep you the same. If only in my mind you will be. I'm sailing dark waters to far America. Nevermore my green valleys to see. It hurts me to think of the things I left behind, and the famine has blackened our land. And to look now for something that I may never find, it's a problem that's now close at hand. Farewell, my green valleys, God keep you the same. If only in my mind you will be. I'm sailing dark waters to far America. Nevermore my green valleys to see. That's a fever raging and the wind has died away, and our journey may no longer be, though the plague is a shadow that lingers night and day. Oh, my thoughts of green valleys I see. Farewell, my green valleys, God keep you the same. If only in my mind you will be. I'm sailing dark waters to far America. Nevermore my green valleys to see. Farewell, my green valleys, God keep you the same. If only in my mind you will be. I'm sailing dark waters to far America. Nevermore my green valleys to see. Nevermore my green valleys to see. I thank you all for your silent applause. And now, moving right along, we're back at the beginning with David Polacek, and I will mute everybody. There we go.
Okay, this is a Irish rebel song. Can't have too many of those. It's an interesting one. It was composed, I believe, in the 1950s by a fellow named Dominic Behan, who was actually associated with the IRA. But it's kind of ambiguous as to what he's trying to say here, because he's talking about an actual event and an actual person. But although the song is cast in the first person, it's unclear what the writer's opinion is. And he makes references to political indoctrination and to differences of opinion among the Irish revolutionary movement, which is very unusual for songs of this type. It makes a reference to De Valera, who was one of the original Irish rebels of the 20th century, Eamon de Valera, but also became the Prime Minister of Ireland after it became an independent country. And he references James Connolly, who was one of the leaders of the Easter Rising in 1916. And although Connolly was severely wounded during the battle and was in hospital, he was still convicted of treason and sentenced to death by firing squad. And they removed him from the hospital and took him out to the place in the jail where they were going to execute him. And he couldn't stand before the firing squad, so they strapped him in a chair and shot him that way. Got a lot of bad reaction from a lot of people, and that's referenced in this song as well. It's radical opinions. It's called the Patriot Game. And it also mentions quislings. Basically means people who betray their country to a foreign power. All you young rebels, and list while I sing. For love of one's land is a terrible thing. It banishes fear with the speed of a flame, and it makes us all part of the Patriot Game. My name is Highland, I'm just gone 16. My home is in Monaghan, it's there I was weaned. I was taught all my life cruel England to blame, and so now I'm part of the Patriot Game. 'Tis barely 2 years since I wandered away with the local battalion of the bold IRA. I read of our heroes and I wanted the same, to play up my part in the Patriot Game. They told me how Connolly was shot in a chair, his wounds from the battle all bleeding and bare, his fine body twisted, all battered and lame. They soon made me part of the Patriot Game. This Ireland of mine has for long been half free. 6 counties are under John Bull's monarchy, and still De Valera is greatly to blame for shirking his part in the Patriot Game. I don't mind a bit if I shoot down police. They're lackeys for war, never guardians of peace. And yet at deserters I never let aim, those rebels who sold out the Patriot Game. And now as I lie with my body all whole, I think of those traitors who bargained and sold. I'm sorry my rifle has not done the same for the quislings who sold out the Patriot Game.
Very good. Classic of its kind. Bob Dylan stole that one too, but that's another story.
Well, there's a great story about that. He wrote "With God on Our Side." Now it uses the same melody, it's true, but that was a folk melody to begin with for another song. And his lyrics really have very little to do with this particular Irish rebel story. It's more about general musings on the idea of nationalism. But when he was touring the United Kingdom, Dominic Behan, who was living in the UK at the time, called his hotel and berated him for stealing his song. And reportedly, Dylan said something like, well, you can have your lawyers talk to my lawyers. To which Behan replied, I've got two lawyers, and they're at the ends of my wrists.
Good one, good story. Looks like Karen's ready to do a number. Is that correct?
Yes, she wants to sing a song called Matt Highland.
Okay, well, let me mute everybody and you unmute yourself. Here we go. Boom.
Yeah, sure.
Now
Okay.
unmute it. There you go.
And you have to mute yourself.
Yes.
Wait, did you do the top one?
Yes.
So I can do the top one? Why is it reverberating? Good?
Yeah.
Okay, now let me hear where you're going to pitch it. Ready? Okay. Yeah, I think. I'll go. There lived a lord within this land who had a fair and lovely daughter. She was courted by a nice young man who was a servant to her father. But when her parents came to know, they swore they'd, honey, take it down a fifth. It's a little too high for me. Okay, let's try that. There lived, that's higher. That's higher. Oh my God.
Okay.
What key were you in before?
G.
Take it to D. I'm sorry, everybody. This is what happens when you don't rehearse.
It's live music.
It is live. It's as it is. There lived a lord within this land who had a fair and lovely daughter. She was courted by a nice young man who was a servant to her father. But when her parents came to know, they swore they'd drive him from the island. But this maid, she knew that her heart would break if she should part from young Matt Highland. Straightway into his room she goes, into his room to awaken, saying, arise and go, my own true love, this very night you will be taken. For I have heard my father say, in spite of me, he will transport you. So arise and go, my own true love. I wish to God I'd gone before you. Ah, must I go? The young man said. Ah, must I go without my wages, with ne'er a penny in my purse, just like some poor forlorn stranger? Here's 50 guineas in bright gold, and that's for more than father owes you. So arise and go, my own true love. I wish to God I'd gone before you. They both sat down upon the bed, just side by side for 1/2 hour, and ne'er a word did either say, yet down their cheeks the tears did shower. She's laid her head all on his breast, round his waist her arms entwined. No lord or duke or earl I'll wed, I'll wait for you, my young mad Highland. 'Tis then these lovers severed were, that he might elude transportation. Since he was gone, perhaps forever, her sad heart knew no consolation. As days passed by, she then began to roam the groves alone and sighted, and in her grief she cried aloud, send back my own mad Highland. The Lord discussed with his daughter dear, one night alone in her bedchamber, saying, I'll give you leave to bring him back, since there are none you style above him. She wrote a letter then in haste, still for him her heart entwined. She's brought him back, to the church they went. She's made a lord of young Matt Highland. Yay.
Good. That sounds good with David on the muted mic and sitting away.
It works? Oh,
It works.
good.
It works great.
I
What's-
wish I could
what's
have
the
heard
name
the
of that-
whistle.
What's the name of that melody?
Matt Highland.
Matt Highland.
Matt
Yeah.
Island?
No,
Matt Highland.
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 Hyland. Highland.
Could you
Yep.
put that in the chat for us? I really like that.
David's
Thanks.
on it.
Thank
He's
you.
on it.
Very nice.
Very pretty. It was a nice story too.
Isn't it? It comes out well.
Yeah,
what-
like
So
Nobody
what happens
dies.
when you're too lenient with your teenage daughters? Let that be. All right, that's great. Let's move on to the Hortons. And the Hortons, you do get 2 songs a go, you know, because there are 2 of you, so it's up to you. Let me
yeah,
mute
we'll probably
everybody.
just do one each time.
Okay.
It's easier.
Let me mute. I'm going to mute everybody. Here we go.
Okay. Oh, there's Matt.
Young Catherine.
Okay. Our next one's going to be a O'Carillon piece. Of course, he was born in 1670 and lived to 1738. And this is a song. It hasn't been recorded very much. It's called Young Catherine. We just put our book in alphabetical order, and we were actually going to play the Wild Time song that David did first. We'd practice that, and after we played through it, we saw this song right before it, or right after. Y would be after W. And so he said, hey, let's try this one. And so we're going to try this one for you called Young Catherine. Ooh, look how it's doing now.
Whoa!
We got a fun funny thing back there. Oh well. Wait, let me turn this on. Does that change it? There we go. Okay.
All right.
Oh wait a minute, I don't have any music. Hold on. Okay.
All right.
Mhm.
Kick it off.
That was very pretty. He wrote some pretty tunes, that fella.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, he was Paul McCartney ahead of his time, you know.
He was.
I don't think he has much money.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we welcome Ed to the circus. We're leaving for a bit later so he can gather material. So, and we'll move on. Jeffrey's just sitting in unless he doesn't want to. And Elise is just sitting in. And so it's Mary Jane. So over to you, Mary Jane. I think everyone else is or muted, so take it away.
Okay, this one is called I Know Where I'm Going. And it's another kind of a gypsy laddie story. I know where I'm going, and I know who's going with me. I have stockings of silk and shoes of bright green leather, brooms to buckle my hair, and a ring for every finger. Oh, feather beds are soft and painted rooms are bonny. I would give them all for my handsome, winsome Johnny. Some say he's black, but I say he's bonny. Fairest of them all is my handsome, winsome Johnny. I know where I'm going, and I know who's going with me. I know who I love, and my dear knows who I'll marry.
Yay.
Requiring more kazoo breaks. It only had 4 short verses.
I learned that song when I was in elementary school.
Really?
And I learned it. The first verse had the line about, I know who I love, but the deer knows who I'll marry. The deer knows. At the time, I didn't know it, but it's an Irish phrase similar to the dear Lord knows who I'll marry.
Yeah.
Who knows means who knows. But I didn't know that, and I thought there was a magical deer in the forest.
Yeah, well, this one says my dear, and I thought about that, you know, because I think I'd heard a version that was like yours, that it was like, who knows who I'm going to marry, but this one specifically says my dear.
That's
This
wrong.
one comes out of Rise Up Singing.
That's wrong.
Yeah. Peter got a couple of things wrong there. Anyway, to use Dylan would say, David, that it doesn't matter what the author meant with writing the song. It's what you experience the meaning. That's the meaning. So
Bourgeois.
I kind of like the meaning of this. You know, she's so positive about it that she's definitely going to marry him no matter what. And he's a black gypsy.
I thought I interpreted it just the opposite way myself. I thought they're never gonna get married. See what I mean? Dylan was right. It's in his Nobel Peace Prize lecture, by the way. He had to do a 90-minute lecture to get $90,000 prize. So he did an iPod for 90, instead of showing up in person, did an iPod for 90 minutes. And it's quite interesting about how he became a musician and how he read all these great books as a youngster. Anyway, enough of that. I think it's me. So enough gabbling. I will mute everybody. All right. Yeah, I'm going to do a couple of Robert Burns songs today, and we got plenty of time. So this is one, some of you may have heard it before, but this is a satirical song about a clergyman whose first name is David, and he was, I think, a Scottish Covenanter, and he was basically practicing an illegal religion, and the Church of Scotland and the church, the government was sending troops around arresting people who were basically heretics. So he was staying with some true believers of the same take on religion, and the soldiers show up So they hid him in the top room, the attic of the house, which happened to be the bedroom of their 19-year-old daughter. Well, less than a year later, she has a baby. So there you go. So this is a little spoof on this clergyman who wasn't as good as he seemed to be. Now, there's a couple of words of translation in there. Turly whirlies is in the first verse. That means intricate carvings on a bedstead or something. And he says, leaves me on your curly pow in the chorus. That means, let me lay down, lay down your curly head on my lap. Something like that. Rough translation. The rest is all in English, I believe. So here we go. It was in and through the windows broads, and all the turly whirlies old, the sweetest gifts that e'er I got was from my dainty Davy. Oh, leaves me on your curly pow, dainty Davy, dainty Davy, leaves me on your curly pow, my ain dear dainty Davy. It was down among my daddy's peas, and underneath a cherry trees. Oh, there he kissed me as he pleased, for he was my own dear Davy. Oh, leaves me on your curly pow, dainty Davy, dainty Davy, leaves me on your curly pow, my ain dear dainty Davy. When he was chased by a dragoon, into my bed he was laid down. I thought him worthy of his room, for he's my dainty Davy. Oh, leaves me on your curly pow, dainty Davy, dainty Davy, leaves me on your curly pow, my dainty, dainty Davy. There you go, clergyman story. All right, we got Ed up next. If you got enough ammo in the belt, Ed, or do you want to come around again? He's
That's
good. He's good to go. So I'm going to mute everybody. Here we go. All right, it's all yours to unmute.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Out on a journey, looking along the way, seeing a trail for wandering, up and around the corner. In the ascent, the edge is uncertain, but onward through the fog we go. Onto who I know and where I plan to go, prepared with the ring for every finger. A love tale for both, endeared to each other. The journey of life carries us along, admiring the curly whirlies caught with dainty daisy, preaching underneath the cherry tree. Let's hide out while the soldiers prowl. That curly pool is where I prowl. Okay.
Good writing on the fly, as always. Well done, sir. All right, moving right back around to David, if he's there. Is there a sign of David? Oh, there he is. Okay, yeah, everyone's muted. Oh, no, there we go.
All right.
All yours.
Okay. So this is something that I was thought of because Mary Jane did the song Down by the Sally Gardens, which is based on a poem by Yeats, W.B. Yeats. And that was based on another song that he heard called You Rambling Boys of Pleasure. And he couldn't remember all the verses of it, so he made up that poem, Down by the Sally Gardens, that's reminiscent of a couple of verses that's in the other song. But this idea of putting Yeats' poems to music, which is contemporary with him, inspired me to try some of his others. And this is one that's got a bit of a rebel tone to it. He didn't do many poems about revolution, but this one is sort of like that. It's called, would you mute the top? Would you mute? So it's called September 1913, which was actually before the Easter Rising in 1916. But he's sort of in this poem explaining that he didn't really like the attitude of the Irish public, which wasn't very enthusiastic about the whole Republican prospect. And he's talking about other Irish rebels of the past in this poem. It's interesting that there wasn't all the tremendous support that was anticipated for the Easter Rising. But after the British suppressed it so brutally, it got a lot more support in reaction to that. The tune is The Flower of Maharalio. Sense, but fumble in a greasy till, and add the halfpence to the pence, and prayer to shivering prayer until you have dried the marrow from the bone, for men were born to pray and save. Romantic Ireland is dead and gone, it's with O'Leary in the grave. They were of a different kind, the names that stilled your childish prey. They have gone about the world like wine, but little time had they to pray. For whom the hangman's rope was spun, and what, God help us, could they save? Romantic Ireland is dead and gone, it's with O'Leary in the grave. Was it for this the wild geese spread the grey wing upon every tide? For this that all that blood was shed, for this Edward Fitzgerald died. White and Robert Emmett and Wolfe Tone, all that delirium of the brave. Romantic Ireland is dead and gone. It's with O'Leary in the grave. Yet could we turn the years again and call those exiles as they were, in all their loneliness and pain, you'd cry some woman's yellow hair had maddened every mother's son. They weighed so lightly what they gave, but let them be, they're dead and gone. They're with O'Leary in the grave.
Yeah. Bunch of nonsense. Hey. Good stuff. We've had terriers re-emerge from the bowels of a Quaker meeting. So we should give him the stage next. So it's all yours.
Another song or
I would
another
like to. I would like to do "Wind That Shakes the Barley."
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Before Terry, Karen is next.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry.
Mute yourself. You can do
Mute
that?
yourself?
Yeah, I'm unmuted.
Okay, good. I'm muted. And what you gonna do?
"Wind That Shakes the Barley." I have to hear a little bit of it first.
Good one. Very good. We've had several new people join us in the last few minutes, so I think I'm going to invite them to all participate before we resume our regular order. So there's Terry, then there's Mike, and then there's Vincent, and then there's Sheldon Crocker if you wish to participate. Okay, just a listener. That's great. So we'll go with Terry, then Mike and Vincent, then we get back to the Horton duo. So let's start with Terry. And I'll just mute myself, I guess. No, mute everyone.
Yeah, the headphones, I can hear everybody else, but I can't hear me, and that's a problem if I'm playing. So, okay, so this is unusual. It's a British industrial ballad. It was kind of, how shall I say, industrial pornography, taking place in the, I guess, the 18th century or before. Anyway, it's a song about a hand weaver, and a hand weaver was a guy who took his loom from town to town and set up and did a bunch of weaving for the community and then moved on. But this particular guy noticed something that the villages that he visited were bereft of pretty girls. They were getting fewer and fewer. And he finally realized that they had all gotten jobs in the weaving mills, which were run by steam. So he decides that the only way to meet women is to get a job in the mill. And this is what ensues. So. When I was a tailor, I carried my bodkin and shears. When I was a weaver, I carried my rod and my gear, my temples also, my small gloves and a root in my hand. And wherever I go, it's a jolly old weaver again. I'm a hand weaver to trade. I fell in love with a factory maid, and if I could but her favor win, I'd stand beside her and weave the steam. My father to me scornfully said, how could you fancy a factory maid when you could have girls fine and gay, dressed like unto the queen of the maid? As for you fine girls, I don't care. If I could but enjoy my dear, I'd stand in the factory all the day, and she and I'd keep our shells in play. I went to my true love's bedroom door, where I had oft times been before, but I could not speak nor yet get in the pleasure bed that my love lays in. How can you say it's a pleasant bed when not lies there but a factory maid? And the factory lass, although she be, blessed is the man that enjoys she. Unpleasant thoughts come into my mind as I turn down the sheets so fine, and I seen her two breasts standing so like two white hills all covered in snow. Whoops, sorry. The loom, it goes click, and the shuttle goes clack. The shuttle flies forward and then flies back. The weaver's so bent that he's like to crack. Such a wearisome trade is the weaver. The yarn it is made off at last. The ends of the weft, they are made quite fast. The weaver's labor is all now past. Such a wearisome trade is a weaver. Ah, where are the girls? I tell you plain, the girls have all gone to weave by steam. And if you'd find them, you must rise at dawn and trudge to the mill in the early morn. When I was a tailor, I carried my bodkin and shears. When I was a weaver, I carried my runes and my gears. Oh, and my gears. There it is. I'm gonna start that over. I had it fall apart right at the end of the song. When I was a weaver, when I was a tailor, I carried my bodkin and shears. When I was a weaver, I carried my roods and my gear. My temples also, my small doves and roods in my hand. And wherever I go, it's the jolly old weaver again.
That was great.
Oh, thank you. Apologies for the occasional kerfuffles in there.
Wonderful, wonderful arrangement.
Of course, Maddie Pryor, nobody can do it like Maddie Pryor, but you know, I don't care hardly or anything.
All right, that's great, Terry. Thank you very much. We have some more new people joining us with Eleanor and Sam, I believe, and you're about 3 people up for performing, if you would be so kind. So we're gonna have Mike, Vincent, and then you guys. So let's go ahead and hear from Mike, and I'm gonna mute everybody. So here we go.
Stuart, Marion's here tonight as well.
Sorry, yeah, you're sorry. It's Mike, Vincent, and then Eleanor and Sam.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Get Marion the next time around then.
Oh, no, Marion as well, yeah. There'll
Right.
be Vincent, Marion, and then Eleanor and Sam. Gotcha.
Good man, good man.
Okay, let's go with Mike. There we go. Let's mute everybody. Boom. Okay, Mike, it's all yours.
Let's see. I will do Spancel Hill. Last night, as I lay dreaming of pleasant days gone by. Wait, that's on rambling time. Oh, I've got the wrong. tune to that, so I'll switch real quick. I do this almost every time on that one song, and then I have to go back and listen again. But all right, so I'll go instead to Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears. On the first day of January 1892, they opened Ellis Island and they let the people through. And the first to cross that threshold of that Isle of Hope and Tears was Annie Moore from Ireland, who was all of 15 years. Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears, Isle of Freedom, Isle of Fears, but it's not the isle you left behind. That Isle of Hunger, Isle of Pain, Isle you'll never see again. But the Isle of Home is always on your mind. In a little bag she carried all her past and history, and her dreams for the future in the land of liberty. And courage is the passport when your old world disappears, but there's no future in the past when you're 15 years. Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears, Isle of Freedom, Isle of Fears, but it's not the isle you left behind. That Isle of Hunger, Isle of Pain, Isle you'll never see again. But the Isle of Home is always on your mind. When they closed down Ellis Island in 1943, 17 million people had come there for sanctuary. And in springtime when I came here and I stepped onto its piers, I thought of how it must have been when you're 15 years. Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears, Isle of Freedom, Isle of Fears, but it's not the isle you left behind. That Isle of Hunger, Isle of Pain, Isle you'll never see again. But the Isle of Home is always on your mind. Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears, Isle of Freedom, Isle of Fears, but it's not the isle you left behind. That Isle of Hunger, Isle of Pain, Isle you'll never see again. But the Isle of Home is always on your mind.
Yay. Okay, very good. Thank you. Good song, that one.
Thank you.
All right, Vincent's up next, so I'm going to mute everybody as not being muted. Okay, need to unmute, and it's all yours, Vincent.
There you go. Right. I'm going to sing this song here, but Terry and I think David may have heard it because I sang it in Belfast on Sunday or Thursday night. But it's
by golly, let's hear it again.
that was the first time that I sang it, and I want to give it another go so that I get it all right. Oh, and in waters wondrous deep, and my love Annie's wondrous bonny. I love that she should wet her feet, because I love her best of any. Go saddle for me that bonny grey mare, Go saddle her soon and make her ready. For I must cross that stream tonight. Oh, never more I'll see my lady. And woe betide the waters wide. By night you are a gloomy river, and over you I'll build a bridge that never more true love may sever. And he has ridden o'er field and fen, o'er moor and moss and many's a mire. His spurs of steel were sore to bite, speaks from the mares whose flew like fire. The mare flew on o'er moor and moss, and when she reached the Annan waters, she couldn't have ridden a furlong more, and 1,000 whips been laid upon her. And woe betide you, Annan waters, by night you are a gloomy river, and over you I'll build a bridge that never more true love may sever. O boatman, come, put off your boat, put off your boat and for gold and money, for I must cross that stream tonight, or never more I'll see my lady. The sides are steep, the water's deep, from bank to brae the water's pouring, and the bonny grey mare, she so wets for fear, she stands to hear the water roaring. And woe betide you, Annan waters, by night you are a gloomy river, and over you I'll build a bridge that never more true love may sever. And he has tried to swim that stream, and his swings go strong and steady, but the river was wide and strength did fail, and never more he'll see his lady, for they broke beneath her true love's hand. In strength did fail and limbs did tire, and woe betide you, Annan waters, by night you are a gloomy river, and over you I'll build a bridge that never more true love may sever. There we go.
That was extremely good, extremely good.
Yes.
And we have Marion as well, so stay muted and we'll give Marion a turn there. So.
The wee bit thing, you know.
I don't know what you got.
That's good, that's all right.
What are you doing?
Go ahead.
In Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone, as she wheels her wheelbarrow through the streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She was a fishmonger, and sure was no wonder, for her father and mother were fishmongers too, and they wheeled their wheelbarrow through the streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She died with a fever, and no one could save her, and that was the end of sweet Molly Malone. But her ghost wheels her barrow through the streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Thank you.
Yay!
Very good.
Yeah, a classic, perfectly sung.
We like Vincent, but it's good when Marian's back as well. So there we go.
Excuse me, Stuart. You can go off people very quick, you know.
There you go. All right, and you may notice for those in North America how beautiful the sunsets are in June in the Northern Hemisphere with those long summer evenings. So just pushing some tourism here. So, all right, it's Sam and Eleanor's turn. So let's put the...
Great to see Sam and Eleanor.
Right. Hello, folks. We've been to the Saturday one once, but we haven't been to the Celtic song. So here's a Celtic song. Now, I suppose in Texas you have a lot of Hereford cows, but in Wales they have Welsh cows. So if you have any Welsh-speaking cows, this is a very useful song if you want to collect them. This song basically says, "Come here, cow." That's it, really. Hey ho ho, which means hey ho ho. Brossin, which is the name of the cow. Ir Beaf, which means
to the farmyard.
Farmyard, or schoolyard, as it happens. Brossenvark means little brochin. Sarv means to stand. That's it. So basically getting the cows to come to you by calling them.
Each by name. The second one is Seren, which means star, and the third one is Blodin, which means flower.
So here's a little song. Hey ho ho, brother near be earth. Hey ho ho, brother near be earth. Hey ho ho, brother birth, brother birth. Hey ho ho, hey ho ho, hey ho ho, brother near be earth. Savo, sav, savo, sav, savo, sav, brother near be earth, brother near be earth. Hey ho ho, Sarah near be earth. Hey ho ho, Sarah near be earth. Hey ho ho, Serenbach, Serenbach. Hey ho ho, hey ho ho, hey ho ho, Sarah near be earth. Savo, sav, savo, sav, savo, sav, Sarah near be earth. Sarah near be earth. Hey ho ho, bloody near be earth. Hey ho ho, bloody near be earth. Hey ho ho, bloodin vach, bloodin vach. Hey ho ho, hey ho ho, hey ho ho, bloodin near be earth. Savo, sav, savo, sav, savo, sav, bloody near be earth, bloody near be earth.
It's kind yr odroddus, Milkmaid song.
Nice. Because there's two of you, you can do another song now if you wish.
Yeah.
Okay, well, for a bit of a change of pace, let's have a shanty. We will sing the chorus in Welsh, but then we'll sing it in English, and we'll sing the verses in English. There is a bit in the which is in the Welsh song, even in the old, when they sang it, they used to sing round the horn and they'd shout out round the horn in English. For the second time round with enthusiasm. So that's what we'll do. This is
you can join in that.
this was collected in Bangor, where we used to live in northwest Wales. In the days when there was still we had our neighbour of Captain Price, and there was a sailmaker called J.W. Cale, I think.
Yeah.
And this was sung as far away as South Georgia. And they were wailing. Okay then. So just start in Welsh and then we'll do it in English. Dewch Cymru glân i'r wrando ar fy nghon, fel bu y fodaeth round yr hon, round the horn, sef y trydydd dydd o'r wythnos, a chydig cyn y cythnos, gan basio gerbyn greigiau glannau mon. Come Welsh man all and listen to my song, how we sailed our packet round the horn, round the horn. 'Twas the third day of the week, boys, when dawn was just a breaking. We passed the rocky shores of Anglesey. It was the day of sailing, we were bound to leave our homeland. We were heading out towards Green Island shore. The wind was blowing big guns, the sea was running high, boys, a-tumbling o'er the rail with thundering roar. Dewch Cymru glân i'r wrando ar fy nghon, fel bu y fodaeth round the horn, sef y trydydd dydd o'r wythnos, a chydig cyn y cythnos, gan basio gerbyn greigiau glannau mon. Come Welshmen all and listen to my song, How we sailed our packet round the horn, round the horn. 'Twas the third day of the week, boys, when dawn was just breaking. We passed the rocky shores of Anglesey. We sailed high seas over in many a good old packet, but this was the toughest rounding of the horn. Water proper scouse enough to make you wish you'd not been born. Dewch Cymru glan round the Leven Horn, fel be a fordaeth round yr horn, round the horn. Sef y trydydd o wythnos, a chydig un y cyfnos, gan basio ger glan greigiau glanau mon. Come, Welshman all, and listen to my song. How we sailed our packet round the horn, round the horn. 'Twas the third day of the week, boys, when dawn was just breaking. We passed the rocky shores of Anglesey.
Very nice.
Pass the grog around, boys.
Yeah.
There you go.
We were with you around the horn there.
Yeah, you've got a well-speaking cows to take round the horn.
Very good. Very, very good. All right. Moving right along. It's back to the Horton duo. So I will mute everybody. Boom. Okay, it's all yours.
Okay, we're gonna do a Scottish polka. It's called I Have a Bonnet Trimmed in Blue. So if y'all want to get up in your living rooms and dance the polka, go right ahead. It's going to be on guitar and soprano recorder.
Riley's right there. Okay.
This way. There we go.
All right.
That was great. Anyone sleeping out there? There you go. Okay, it's Mary Jane, I think is up next.
My other song. I don't know where it is.
And if I skip anybody, just let me know. I think I'm keeping up, but I tend to flag after the second hour. So. Okay, Mary Jane, it's all yours. Need to.
Okay. So I'm going to do a traditional Irish song called Brennan on the Moor. It's an outlaw song. Let's see. All right. It's of a brave highwayman, this story I will tell. His name was really Brennan, and in Ireland he did dwell. 'Twas on the Kilworth Mountains he commenced his wild career, and many a wealthy nobleman before him shook with fear. And it's Brennan on the moor, Brennan on the moor. Oh, brave and undaunted was young Brennan on the moor. One day upon the highway, as Willie he went down, he met the mayor of Cashel a mile outside the town. The mayor, he knew his features, and he said, "Young man," said he, "your name is Willie Brennan, you must come along with me." And it's Brennan on the moor, Brennan on the moor. Oh, brave and undaunted was young Brennan on the moor. Now Brennan's wife had gone to town, provisions for to buy. And when she saw her Willie, she commenced to weep and cry. Said, "Hand to me that 10-penny." As soon as Willie spoke, she handed him a blunderbuss from underneath her cloak. For young Brennan on the moor, Brennan on the moor. Oh, brave and undaunted was young Brennan on the moor. And with this loaded blunderbuss, the truth I will unfold. He made the mayor tremble, and he robbed him of his gold. 100 pounds was offered for his apprehension there. So he with horse and saddle to the mountains did repair. Did young Brennan on the moor, Brennan on the moor. Oh, brave and undaunted was young Brennan on the moor. Now Brennan being an outlaw upon the mountain high, with cavalry and infantry to take him they did try. He laughed at them and scorned them until at last was said, by a false-hearted person he was cruelly betrayed. And it's Brennan on the moor, Brennan on the moor. Oh, brave and undaunted was young Brennan on the moor. They took Brennan to the crossroads, in chains he swung and died. But still they say that in the night some do see him ride. They see him with his blunderbuss in the midnight chill. Along the King's Highway, why it's really Brennan still. And it's Brennan on the moor, Brennan on the moor. Oh, brave and undaunted was young Brennan on the moor.
Very good, very good, very good, very good.
I won't be anything about it.
Stuart,
Yes.
can I interrupt you for a minute there? Mary sang a song and she mentioned the town land on it of Kilmore. Kilmore, right? And that's in Armagh. Now, this man, he lived in Kilmore.
Okay.
He had relations, he had relations that lived in the town land a few mile away. And it was called killing a man, right? So he was out one night and he was driving from one to the other. And the army stopped him, the police, and they asked him, name and all, and he says, and where are you going? He says, I'm going over to killing the man. He says, and where are you going then? He says, I'm going to kill more.
Okay, we got it.
Did you get it?
I got it.
Delayed reaction.
Kill the man and kill more. You got it now.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Vincent. All right, Chip's just shown up, so I'm going to let Chip have if you're ready to go, Chip.
What do you do for them, sir?
We can slot you in right now.
Maybe skip one, Stuart, if you don't mind,
okay.
and then come back. Let me get...
I will be your warm-up act. How about that?
Thank you. You'll be a hard act to follow, too, I'm sure.
Not so much. Okay, here we go. Mute all. All right. I know I have a reputation of doing sad, serious, and songs where people die. So something a little lighter here. My other Robert Burns song. And I had a good friend growing up in London. He'd married a Scottish woman, and his two daughters, they were named Lisa and Lindsay. And this is Leezy Lindsay. So I wonder where he got those names from. It's a wedding song. I mean, come on. It's that time of year. Will you gang to the Highlands, Lisa Lindsay? Will you gang to the Highlands with me? Will you gang to the Highlands, Lisa Lindsay? My bride and my darling to be. To gang to the Highlands with you, sir, would bring the sore tear to my eye, and leave the green glens and the woodlands and streams of my own country. Will you gang to the Highlands, Lisa Lindsay? Will you gang to the Highlands with me? Will you gang to the Highlands, Lisa Lindsay? My bride and my darling to be. I'll show you the home of the red deer, on mountains where waves the tall pine, and as far as the bound of the red deer, Ilkamoland and mountain is mine. Will you gang to the Highlands, Lisa Lindsay? Will you gang to the Highlands with me? Will you gang to the Highlands, Lisa Lindsay? My bride and my darling to be. 1,000 claymores I can muster, Ilka blade and its bearer the same, and when round their chieftains they rally, the gallant Argyle is my name. Will you gang to the Highlands, Lisa Lindsay? Will you gang to the Highlands with me? Will you gang to the Highlands, Lisa Lindsay? My bride and my darling to be. Oh, there's dancing and joy in the Highlands, there's piping and gladness and glee, for Argyle has brought home Lisa Lindsay, for his bride and his darling to be. Will you gang to the Highlands, Lisa Lindsay? Will you gang to the Highlands with me? Will you gang to the Highlands, Lisa Lindsay? My bride and my darling to be. All right, thank you very much. And now it's time for Chip.
All right, I'm ready. There we go. All right. I had a good weekend. Well, I learned this song earlier, late last week, and got to play it a few times this weekend. This is anybody out there familiar with a Texas fiddler named Stafford Harris? Nobody knows of Stafford. John may know of Stafford Harris. Anyway, he's a Eastern Texas fiddler that was from the 30s, 40s in that era, and he came up with a lot of cool tunes. And Howard Raines and Tricia Spencer have interpreted a lot of his fiddle tune music. So this is one of his, and it's one that theoretically he learned from. When I first heard it, it's one of the funny things about fiddle tunes is a lot of times you may have 2 or 3, 4 different tunes that all have the same name. So I wasn't sure where this came from, but the tune is called Gold Rush, and as I understand it, he did in fact hear the Byron Berline fiddle tune that gets played so much. But this is the Stafford Harris interpretation of Gold Rush, which is kind of cool, kind of fun.
Lovely.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Well done, Chip.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Now for our poet recorder of the session, Ed. Tell us what we just experienced.
Okay. Need to get back to page 1 here. September 1913. Can you hear me? Flower of Mahalio. Oh boy. This flower is slow to rise. Dried marrow from the bone seems weary in the grave. Home of the hangman's rope where it was spun. Showing us the fun of fear is here to stay. Could we avoid this? It seems so inevitable. The shakes of barley coming out to put their feet to dancing. Our souls make us move. In the movement, nary a soul is still. British industrial handweaver, inspired to follow the skirt. Perhaps the wave of pretty can carry me to the mill. Not straight away, mind you, spinning a plan to spin into the heart of a babe. Not planning to simply march in and offer, wanting mainly to spin a path to a union, the factory, a business I wish I were into. From boardman to bedroom in a snap. First day they opened Ellis Island. Isle of Hope, Isle of Tears. Hope carried along with dreams and for future. The Isle of Hunger, the Isle of Fear is long gone. Spring of 1943 closed the doors of hope and freedom. Isle of Hope is always on your mind. Love remains for me with that Bonnie. Alas, she is leaving here. Plan to build a bridge to cross to see her. A river between was strong, the bridge not up to the task of crossing. In Dublin, there was Molly Malone, alive on. Father and mother were streetmongers too. Died with a fever, no one could save her. Molly as a ghost remains alive, oh. Hey, Welsh cows, over here. You need to come. It would please us so. And you know, by coming, you get a roof over your head, food to eat, water to drink, and we know you're safe. Don't simply come as we ask. A Welsh shanty, come on, one and all, round the horn. A day of sailing, passing the danger of rocks. The seas are rough. Better get you around the horn. Dangers you'll see till you get round the horn. The Scottish polka, have your feet ready. Right here, right now, in this very moment, inspiring others with instruments to also dance. Guitar strings dance as well, with solo whistle leading us all. Irish outlaw, brave man on the highway. He took money from wealthy people. One day he met a mayor in the town a mile out. And the mayor took him into town, but this man took a blunderbuss from out from under a skirt and took the mayor's gold. Long after he died, they still see his ghost and his blunderbuss. Lindsay, my bride to be, will you go with me? For bride dear and darling to be. Show you a house in a mountain that's mine. Persist I will, for your hand I will. Fiddling around, gold rush out there, bringing it here. As a start of a journey to where, who cares? 'Tis the journey, the sights, the sound that matter. Gold rush taken with a fiddle shows a trail of gold dust. And if you pay attention, the view takes your breath away.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, Ed, that was great. Back to the top, the last round, the final hour coming now. And the sun's still shining over there in Ireland. Just wanted to remind you of that. So, let's start with David and Karen. So,
Okay, so I'm going to do another Yeats poem, become a song. Yeah, and this is called "The Host of the Air," and the tune is often used for a song called "The Month of January," also Paddy's Green Shamrock Shore. But "The Host of the Air" is based on a folk belief that there were supernatural beings that loved to fly around and kidnap brides on their wedding nights and take them away with them. Hence the phrase, "off with the fairies." And one of the beliefs was that if you became involved with these folks and ate anything they gave you or drank anything they gave you, that you'd be off with them too. The host of the air. O'Driscoll drove with a song, the wild duck and the drake, from the tall and the tufted reeds of the drear Heart Lake. And he saw how the reeds grew dark at the coming of night tide. And he dreamed of the long dim hair of Bridget, his bride. He heard while he sang and dreamed a piper piping away, and never was piping so sad, never was piping so gay. And he saw young men and young girls who danced on a level place, and Bridget, his bride, among them, with a sad and a gay face. The dancers gathered around him, and many a sweet thing said. And a young man brought him red wine, and a young girl white bread. But Bridget drew him by the sleeve, away from the merry bands. Two old men playing at cards with a twinkling of ancient hands. The bread and the wine had a doom, for these were the host of the air. He sat and played in a dream of her long, dim hair. He played with the merry old men and thought not of evil chance, until one bore Bridget, his bride, away from the merry dance. He bore her away in his arms, the handsomest young man there. And his neck and his breast and his arms were drowned in her long dim hair. O'Driscoll scattered the cards, and out of his dream awoke. Old men and young girls were gone like a drift in smoke. But he heard high up in the air a piper piping away, and never was piping so sad, never was piping so gay.
For the fairies.
Very good.
Thank you all. We're
thanks
off
a lot.
now. I've getting a bit tired. Thanks a
Okay.
lot. See you
Thanks for
again.
coming. See you
Bye.
next time, maybe.
Bye.
All right. Thank you, David. That tune really goes well with that. Is Karen? Yeah, there she is.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. My eyes are getting blurred. Okay, Karen, it's all yours.
Okay, and David's going to introduce this one.
Great.
It's called The Spring Glee. It's from the singing of the Copper Family. When spring comes in, the birds do sing,
The lambs do skip and the bells do ring, while we enjoy their glorious charm, so noble and so gay. The primrose blooms and the cows slip too, the violets in their sweet retire, the roses shining through the briar, and the daffodils which we admire will die and fade away.
young
Men and maidens will be seen on mountains high and meadows green. They will talk of love and sport and play, while these young lambs do skip away. At night they homeward wend their way, when evening stars appear. The primrose blooms and the cows slip too, the violets in their sweet retire, the roses shining through the briar, and the daffodils which we admire will die and fade away. The dairy maid to milking goes, her blooming cheeks as red as a rose. She carries her pail all on her arm, so cheerful and so gay. She milks, she sings, and the valleys ring. The small birds on the branches there sit listening to this lovely fare. She is her master's trust and care. She is the plowman's joy. And the primrose blooms, and the cows slip too. The violets in their sweet retire, the roses shining through the briar, and the daffodils which we admire will die and fade away. How's that?
It's wonderful. Yeah. You did great harmonies together, I must admit.
Yeah, that was just glorious. Thank you.
Thank you. Whoops.
And we see Paul has joined as well. Paul from England is such a stalwart that he comes in after 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I mean, Sam and Eleanor just turned in, and then Paul turns up.
Yeah, there's an early finishing one in Cornwall that I go to and then come on.
Okay, I thought that might be the case. So, are you ready to do something now, Paul, or do you want to wait one or two?
I could do you one straight away if you want. Yeah,
do one straight away if you would.
Right. Okay. Has anyone done Indiana?
No, not yet.
Okay, right, there you go. Here's a
Right.
song that everyone thinks is Irish and is actually Scottish, that I only recently discovered because I thought it was Irish for ages and ages. But in fact, what happened was Andy Irvine, who heard it before, I think possibly before it even been performed in public, heard Andy Mitchell sing it. And said, "I've got to have that," and then changed some of the animals in it, which made it sound like Irish, and everyone then thinks it's Irish. Anyway, I've found the original lyrics, so and we have actually the authority of Andy Mitchell himself, who actually joined a Mudcat thread about it and explained what had happened to his song. So here you are. Fare thee well then, Indiana, your green country's been good to me. There I traveled, there I settled, there I raised up my family. But the cord has never severed, and the longing in me has grown. So tomorrow I'll be leaving for the land that I call my own. All my friends say I'm crazy going back to such poverty. America, so they say, is now the land of opportunity. But the red deer running swiftly, and the heron as she slowly flies, these are treasures from my homeland. All your money cannot buy. Fare thee well then, Indiana, your green country's been good to me. There I traveled, there I settled, there I raised up my family. But the cord has never severed, and a longing in me has grown. So tomorrow I'll be leaving for the land that I call my own. And while our vessels in the harbor, I will look back upon that shore. I'll feel sadness at our departing this great nation forevermore. But when that ship's out on the ocean, be with all those dreams I've had for years, now drawing nearer reality. Fare thee well then, Indiana, your green country's been good to me. There I traveled, there I settled, there I raised up my family. But the cold has never severed, and a longing in me has grown. And so right now I am leaving for the land that I call home.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
The line about the cord has never severed was inspired by the people who were his neighbours in the northwest Scotland who'd moved to Chicago or somewhere, and it was them who their homecoming that inspired that, and they used the phrase that, which is what sort of prompted him to start it.
Just a quick aside, I first heard that song, I was walking the Pembrokeshire coastal trail path a few years ago, and I sat in on the Fishguard Folk Society meeting. They meet in a pub that's been there since, met there forever. Anyway, some grizzly old fellow with a mandolin at the end of the evening played that, and I thought, such a lovely song. So, thank you. All right, moving right along. It is Terry's time. Yeah.
Okay, I lost track and you got me a little off guard here, but I'll hang stuff around my neck and put stuff in my lap. Okay, so this is in a couple of traditions that we've heard from today. It's in the tradition of ballads about highwaymen. It's also in the tradition of ballads of cross-dressing ballads, a great English, a great song cycle. So we got cross-dressing and we got highwaymen, and what else? Anyway, it's called Sauve the Female Highwayman. Sauve is a variant of Sophie. So this is about a young woman who goes hunting for her boyfriend on the highway. You'll see. And Stuart, you may want to mute yourself. still she craved for one thing more, that diamond ring I see you wear. Oh, hand it over, and your life I'll spare. From this diamond ring I will not part, for it's a token from my sweetheart. Sweet and be damned, you rogue, said he, and you'll be hanged for murdering me. She being so sordid, much like a dove, she turned her horse and rode away from her true love. Next morning in the garden, young Sophie and her lover seen. He spied his watch hanging by her clothes, which made him blush, lads, which made him blush like a hero. Why do you blush, you foolish thing? I thought to have that diamond ring. Was I who wronged you on the plain? And here's your gold, love. Here's your gold and your watch and chain. I only did it for to know whether you were a man or no. If you'd have given me that ring, she said, I'd pull the trigger, I'd have pulled the trigger and shot you dead. Ah, tender love.
Wonderful, Terry.
You'll miss with that, Lassie.
Yeah, right. Would you really want a girlfriend like this? I mean, really?
Desperate times, I think.
I think I'd
I gotta
look for
go.
somebody
Thanks,
in the
everybody.
middle instead.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for coming. All right. We are now to Mike. Over in Seattle, I believe. Seattle, Portland, I forget. One of those.
Seattle.
Places. Seattle. There we go. All right.
The scene where I'm at is just north of Seattle. That's Mount Baker, which is getting closer to the border. But, yeah. Let's see let's try this one here. I learned this off of a Silly Wizard album, If I Was a Blackbird. I am a young sailor, my story is sad. Though once I was carefree and a brave sailor lad, I courted a lassie by night and by day. Oh, but now she has left me and sailed far away. Oh, if I was a blackbird, could whistle and sing, I'd follow the vessel my true love sails in, and in the top rigging I would there build my nest, and I'd flutter my wings o'er lily white breast. Or if I was a scholar and could handle a pen, one secret love letter to my true love I'd send, and tell of my sorrow, my grief, and my pain, since she's gone and left me in yon flowery glen. Oh, if I was a blackbird, could whistle and sing, I'd follow the vessel my true love sails in, and in the top rigging I would there build my nest, and I'd flutter my wings o'er her lily white breast. I sailed o'er the ocean my fortune to seek, though I missed her caress and her kiss on my cheek. I returned and I told her my love was still warm, but she turned away lightly, and great was her scorn. Oh, if I was a blackbird, could whistle and sing, I'd follow the vessel my true love sails in, and in the top rigging I would there build my nest, and I'd flutter my wings o'er her lily white breast. I offered to take her to Donnybrook Fair, and to buy her fine ribbons to tie up her hair. I offered to marry and to stay by her side, but she says in the morning she sails with the tide. Oh, if I was a blackbird, could whistle and sing, I'd follow the vessel my true love sails in, and in the top rigging I would there build my nest, and I'd flutter my wings o'er her lily white breast. Oh, my parents, they chide me, oh, they will not agree, saying that me and my false love marriage should never be. Oh, but let them deprive me, oh, let them do what they will, while there's breath in my body, she's the one I love still. Oh, if I was a blackbird, could whistle and sing, I'd follow the vessel my true love sails in, and in the top rigging I would there build my nest, and I'd flutter my wings o'er her lily white breast.
Beautiful.
That's terrific.
Yeah. And Andy M. Stewart, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. It's got one of the coldest lines in songwriting. She said, "In the morning, I sail with the tide."
It's like,
That's the brush off of all brush
yeah,
off.
you know.
Who needs her?
All
He
right,
does
okay.
apparently.
At least you didn't try to shoot him.
Yeah, really. Yeah, there's no death involved with this one. That's always a good sign.
If you've got a ship, you don't need a gun. It's one of the rules, you know.
Yeah.
All right, Vincent and Marion are next. So over to you, sir.
Right. Before I sing this song here, I just let everybody know that but the police over here in Ireland are referred to as guards, right? And the other thing I want to let you know, yes, lights. There's two definitions of lights over here. One is the lights that light up the street. The other one for lights is the insides of an animal, okay, or a person. All right. So here we go. A comical genius was thinking one day how he'd jack up his job and receive handy pay. He did not like begging and work was too hard. So he got the bright notion to join up the guards. Diddly-I-dum, 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 dum day. Well, he went up to Dublin to the depot, went in, got a new suit of blue, as bright as new pins. Well, they drilled him, they drilled him, they drilled him so hard, till the old sergeant declared him a fully fledged guard. Diddly-I, dum, dum, day. He was stationed somewhere near the town of Athy. Round the roads of that district he kept a close eye. The girls there admired him as all brassers do. Fell in love with the guard and his new suit of blue. Diddly-I-dum, 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 dum day. Well, the girls, they would wink and they'd nod that he'd pass. Oh, but the civic guard had his eye on one lass. And this little Colleen, she being a die-hard, soon made it quite clear that she wanted no guard. Diddly-I-dum, 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 dum day. One time, while out cycling on a dark winter's night, he caught her out cycling without any lights. Where's your lights, miss, said he? For an answer said she, they're next to me, lover, where you'll never be. Diddly-I-dum, 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 dum day. A comical genius was thinking one day how he'd jack up his job and receive handy pay. He did not like begging and work was too hard. So he got the bright notion and joined up the guards. Diddly-I-dum, 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 dum day. There we go.
Great one, great one.
Very nice. Thanks for the explanation about the lights. I wouldn't have gotten it.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's used in butchery, certainly, in that phrase.
Okay, Marion, it's all yours.
This is a children's street song, and we sang it in Derry and Belfast.
Whenever you was young, whenever you were Wayne's.
Fair Rosa was a lovely child, a lovely child, a lovely child. Fair Rosa was a lovely child a long time ago. A wicked witch came a-riding by, a-riding by, a-riding by. A wicked witch came a-riding by a long time ago. The wicked witch, she cast a spell, cast a spell, cast a spell. The wicked witch cast a spell a long time ago. Pharoah slept for 100 years, 100 years, 100 years. Pharaoh slept for 100 years, a long time ago. The ages, they all grew around, grew around, grew around. The ages, they all grew around, a long time ago. A handsome prince came a-riding by, a-riding by, riding by. A handsome prince came a-riding by a long time ago. He caught the hedges all around, all around, all around. He caught the hedges all around a long time ago. He kissed Pharaoh's lily white hand, lily white hand, lily white hand. He kissed Pharaoh's lily white hand a long time ago. Pharaoh will not sleep no more, sleep no more, sleep no more. Pharaoh will not sleep no more, a long time ago. Thank you.
Quite a story, that.
Great. All right, excellent, excellent. All right, moving on to the Hortons. And take it away. I will mute as we go here.
Okay, we're gonna do a song everybody already knows, The Wild Mountain Thyme. I'm trying to figure out some notes on the Native American flute, and some of them don't work too well because you have one note, one hole does 3 different notes, and my fingers are tired. So I'm gonna do some harmonization of it, I think, as we play it. Anyway, this is a Will You Go, Lassie Go, Scottish Irish folk song.
D. Well, constant minor D.
Okay.
fine-tune that one.
Very nice.
Beautiful rendition. Beautiful.
Probably the first time it's ever been played on a Native American flute.
that version there was written by a man called Francie McPeak. And at the time he composed it, they lived in County Derry, which is about an hour away from me. The McPeak family.
Yeah, well, I think his son wrote one of the verses, didn't he? I think, unless Francis is the son and his father.
There is the father and the son was Francie McPeak.
Ah, all right, okay. Yeah.
Very good. Thanks for that extra information. That makes it even better. All right, it's Mary Jane. Mary Jane. So, all yours.
I'm not muted. You don't have to mute anybody else, I guess. I get to tell you what song I'm going to do. I'm going to do A Dirty Old Town by Ewan McCall. I did it here a year ago. I was checking my list, and so I've done it before, but it's a good song. It's worth doing again. I met my love by the gasworks wall. Dreamed a dream by the old canal. I kissed my girl by the factory wall. Dirty old town, dirty old town. Clouds are drifting across the blue. Cats are prowling on their feet. Springs a girl from the streets at night. Dirty old town, dirty old town. I heard a siren from the docks. Saw a train set the night on fire. I smelled the spring of the smoky wind. Dirty old town, dirty old town. I'm gonna make me a big sharp axe, shining steel, tempered in the fire. I'll chop you down like an old dead tree. Dirty old town, dirty old town.
Very good. Now, Paul may have the answer to this. I always read that the town was Salford in Manchester.
That's correct. Yeah, that's where
That's
you were
where he
told
was born.
he was born and lived for a
Yes.
while, didn't he? And his father was there, I think. So yeah. So I think the
Right.
song "My Old Man" is based on his.
So yes, we know where we don't want to go if we visit England.
Well, it's not dirty anymore. It's
Oh, they cleaned the place up. That's good.
Jimmy Miller was his own name.
Yes.
Jimmy Miller.
Yeah.
His mother was Scottish.
Yeah. His biography is worth looking up. Some is quite a colourful biography and set of relationships and so on. But that's for another day.
He married Peggy Seeger.
One of his wives is Peggy Seeger. But yeah, he did. All right, it's my turn, so I'm gonna mute everybody. We begin to wind down now. I think we got time for get everyone in, and then I'd like Paul to have another go because he came in late. So after me, we'll have Paul, and then Ed, and then we'll kind of wrap up with the David taking us out with Parting Glass. All right. We already had this evening, Mike did Isle of Hope. This is another song about immigration, more recent, that's called The Back Door. For those that didn't see the Statue of Liberty, there was often the back door of coming over the land, crossing in Detroit, and then overstaying your visa and just hanging in there for as long as you could. This song was written by Kathy Ryan of Cherish the Ladies, great group of Irish and American musicians, some great whistle players there. And this is, I guess, personal experience of being an overstayer coming in through the back door. Here it goes. I didn't see the statue of. So, let me just. There we go. I'm filling time here. I didn't see the Statue of Liberty, never heard her welcoming words. I came through the back door silently, unwanted, unseen, and unheard. I know I am lonely in this country. I think I always have been. I knew as a child I'd leave Ireland. Goodbyes were ghosts on the wind. A dream handed down in my family. Aunt Pat and Aunt Han before him. And over the radio to haunt me. Oh, the songs they sang were of leaving. Oh, I didn't see the Statue of Liberty. Never heard her welcoming words. I came through the back door silently, unwanted, unseen, and unheard. I don't mind hard work for a living. There's so much I'm able to do. I can't spend my life as a living with nothing to look forward to. I want my own bed, my own kitchen. I want my nights to myself. And I don't want to hide underground anymore, if it means that I hide from myself. Oh, I didn't see the Statue of Liberty, never heard a welcoming word. I I came through the back door silently, unwanted, unseen, and unheard. Give me a paw, you're tired, you're hungry, the exiles of your teeming shores, words carved deep in stone, and on the heart's back at home, but not meant for the living anymore. Oh, I didn't see the Statue of Liberty, never heard her welcoming words. I came through the back door silently, unwanted, unseen, and unheard. It's a long time out by the back door, a long time passing unseen. The voices that haunt me are harsh now, confuse me and urge me to leave. But I claim the promise of this country. I have the right to my own dream, and no one can take that away from me. I have half a chance here, I'm not leaving. Oh, I didn't see the Statue of Liberty, never heard her welcoming words. I came through the back door silently, unwanted, unseen, and unheard. Unwanted, unseen, and unheard.
Right, sir.
There you go. Thank you very much. All right. So Chip's gone. So Paul, it's all yours. And then I think we'll probably make that the final. And then Ed, to wrap it all up in a 15-minute epic poem. But Paul, it's all yours.
Right, this is to mark, it's the D-Day anniversary today. This is a song by a guy called Brian Hooper, who's a stalwart of the club I go to, but the folks always been going since about 1973 or something. And it's the imagined reminiscences of an old soldier who's visiting the south coast of the New Forest near where we are, where they constructed or possibly launched the Mulberry Harbours for D-Day, and there are some remains there which are sort of have interpretation boards and things, and he's remembering him being there when he was a young man, being disembarked onto this sort of stuff. It's called the Old Concrete Road. It's a clear view to Cowes and to Pompey's new tower. There's all sorts of craft sailing busily by. I came here at 18, and now that I'm 80, I've come here again for a proper goodbye. To the old concrete road, the long concrete roadway to France. Goodbye to me comrades who didn't reach 20, who never made D-Mob but left England here. Let your dog off the lead, he can sniff round the ruins. Perhaps he'll smell courage, perhaps he'll smell fear. On the old concrete road, where a light never showed, on the long concrete roadway to France. There's a notice explaining the D-Day remains. The wind and makes my eyes water. Spooks are astir. Go on, take the free leaflet if you want to know more. But I know it all. At 18 I was there, on the old concrete road, where a light never showed, and we all spoke in code, on the long concrete roadway to France. I could tell you some tales about Mulberry Harbours, the things that they harboured, the sergeants knew well. A few local girls, right where your dog just piddled. Well, Tommy's the devil when he's posted to hell. On the old concrete road, where a light never showed, and we all spoke in code, where landing craft loaded the long concrete roadway to France. Well, the sea laps away at this crumbling structure, the gorse and the brambles come in from the west. So I'll say me goodbyes now to red relics and reminders the world must remember, but my mates' ghosts can rest on the old concrete road, where a light never showed, and we all spoke in code, where landing craft loaded, let the decades erode the long concrete roadway to France. It's a clear view to Cowes and to Pompey's new tower. There's all sorts of craft sailing busily by. I came here at 18, and now that I'm 80, I'm back here once more for a final goodbye to the old concrete road, where a light never showed, and we all spoke in code, where landing craft loaded, let the decades erode, haunting memories stowed in that phantom's abode, where us ex-soldiers go down the long concrete road.
Nice.
Great song. Great song.
Cowes and Pompey. Cowes is a town on the north of the Isle of Wight, which is what you can see across from the coast. And Pompey is the local name for Portsmouth, the home of the Royal Navy, which had a millennial project of a viewing platform. It's all on flat land for dozens of miles along there. So they've got this massive tower called the Spinnaker Tower, which is a very distinctive landmark all around there.
Very good. That's a great song. Cool. Great. I had not heard that before. That's great. All right. Ed, you need to sum it all up for us, and then David, if he's, well, David will take us out with a song at the end, but all yours, Ed. So.
Okay. Host of the air, reeds grow dark at night, as night was soon to come. Piper piping away saw young people dance. Dancers gathered around him with offers of wine and bread. Parade, or the girl did warn him not to touch. The piper remain piping, piping away. When spring comes, along come the primrose blooms. Daffodils, which are admired, quickly go away. Violets, cowslips, primrose blooms tend to stay. Valleys are alive with so fully. Primrose blooms, cowslips too, but daffodils dash away. Fare thee well, the green country, Scotland. Cold and longing, tomorrow I will be leaving for the land I call my home. Leaving for land of opportunity, treasures from homeland, all money can't buy. There I traveled, I settled, I raised my family, my longing for the land I call home. I will look back, I will remember forevermore. Fare thee well, Indiana, your green land has been good to me. Tomorrow I leave for the land I call home. Female highwaymen out in search of a mate. Quite a journey it was. Not all in love. Finger on the pulse of love or the trigger. Younger sailor story sad. Once I was hopeful chasing a dear lassie. She sailed away the other day. If I was a blackbird, I would sail or fly to her ship, I would. If I was a scholar, I would write her a letter. I did sail to follow her, to say the love I still held. She said nothing to me, no love to show. She sailed away, she did. As a blackbird, I would land and build a nest, feathering my wings. I did not like begging, and work was too hard. There was a lonely child a long time ago, wicked witch using the rising tide long ago. She cast a spell long ago. Let her sleep 100 years. Handsome prince came along, riding by long ago. Kissed her lily white hand long ago. She won't sleep anymore long ago. Scottish-Irish journey starting at the elevation held by a flute, leading us down into a beautiful meadow. Along the way, breaking into a bit of a dance. Then a new path opens, full of flowers and butterflies. In the midst of a wall, a door opens. Met my love in a dirty old town. Heard a siren set the night on fire. Plan to chop you down like a dead old tree. Back door silently. Didn't see the Statue of Liberty. It came in unwanted and unheard. Left Ireland long ago. Don't mind work for a living, but I want my own bed and kitchen. Tired of living underground, unwanted, unseen, unheard. All sorts of crafts sailing by an old concrete road. Goodbye to all those who didn't make 20. The dog might smell bravery or fear. At 18, I heard it all before. A war long ago has stories some still tell. Long concrete road to France. Say my goodbye. Others can remember the dead were. Clear view at 18, now back at 80. where loads of crafts sail by today.
Thank you, Ed, for that, giving back to us what we just did. That's great. So it's time to wrap up. It's after 5. So thanks, everybody. This session is first Sunday of every month, and I hope you can come again. Good to see all of you. And Dave is going to take us out with a song we can all sing in a muted way.
Right, here's the parting glass. Follow it up with a little bit of an Irish jig called Happy to Meet and Sorry to Part. Oh, all the money that e'er I had, I spent it in good company. And all the harm that I ever did, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass, good night and joy be with you all. Oh, if I had money enough to spend, and leisure time to sit a while, there is a fair maid in this town, who sorely has my heart beguiled. Her rosy cheek and ruby lip, I own she has my heart in thrall. So fill to me the parting glass, good night and joy be with you all. Oh, all the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away. And all the sweethearts I ever knew, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll softly rise and I'll gently call, good night and joy be with you all. I'll gently rise and I'll softly call, good night and joy be with you all. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Well done, David. Right.
Goodbye to all.
And good night.
Good.
Yep.
Take care.
Good night, everybody, or afternoon, or
See you
evening,
again. Yep.
wherever you are, or morning. Bye.
Cheers. Good night.